Yes, people, what's going on? Welcome to Stretford Paddock. I am Adam McKola, and with me today is my uncle Webby, because we are here to talk the latest Manchester United news, rumours, all that stuff, and get Webby's reaction to the games that we've seen this week, and also Manchester United in action this weekend against West Bromwich Albion. Thanks to Webby for joining us. Remember, you can subscribe to his channel, Webby and O'Neill. The link is in the description below. First things first, Webby, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm all good, mate. You know, obviously this lockdown's getting to us all, but we've got the football to help us through it, mate. It's been a topsy-turvy week, you can say, for United, but just done a great interview this morning with Tony and Gary Neville. Great points in it, and it's out on the channel now. So have a look at you. You'll have a good view. What Gary's got to say, and Tony, about the current United team. So get it watched, folks.
Yeah, we'll get the link in the description for that video as well, so everybody can follow that up. And make sure you're hitting the subscribe button on Webby and O'Neill's channel. But as you alluded to there, Webby, it's been a little bbit of a mad week, obviously, after that, disappointing draw against Everton, knocking West Ham out of the cup. How have you found this week after that disappointing draw against Everton?
I found it obviously it felt like a defeat at the end. You know,
Yeah.
the game should have been put to bed. You know, we know what Everton's qualities are like. You know, we've defended. We give 3 bad goals away, mate. You know, attacking wise, it's probably the best I've seen us play for a long time. You know, we played well. I'm not going to knock the fact, but defending, you know, the keeper's going to get all the criticisms because he should have had at least 2 of the goals. And we've said it before and all over, Adam, is that if a keeper makes a mistake, 9 times out of 10 it goes in the back of the net. If your defender makes a mistake, sometimes you get away with it like your midfield, but keeper's got to be bigger, and he's got to be stronger there on the 3rd goal, dive on the ball, get kicked in the head. We win the game and we're in a lot better position, and then obviously going on to the West Ham game, it wasn't the greatest of games, you know, but West Ham come out with the fact that they didn't want to play football, they didn't want the tackles, and it was down to us to break us down. And at the end of the day, McKola got the goal. You know, we go to the next round against Leicester. So it's been an up and down week, but obviously Sunday's a big game, you know, because Big Sam's coming at West Brom. He's not done what he expected, what he wanted, but he'd love to put one up on us. You know, I watched him last week against Spurs, and it was similar to what the West Ham performance was. No interest in attacking, really. Let's hang on to what we've got, and it's down to us to open that door and break West Brom down, mate.
Most definitely. Now, you alluded to the FA Cup draw. The FA Cup draw has been made. You got Bournemouth against Southampton. You got Everton against Manchester City. You got Leicester against Manchester United. And the other fixture...
Chelsea versus Southampton. No, is it no Chelsea?
Chelsea, I can't remember.
Sheffield United.
Sheffield United, that's it. We knew they got the easy draw. Although Sheffield United beat us that long ago. What did you make of the FA Cup draw? I thought it was an interesting one. Usually you see City get a plum draw.
Yes, yeah.
Everybody else gets sick there.
I was waiting for us to draw City or Chelsea. You know, we've not played Chelsea for a long while in the FA Cup. We used to draw them every other season. You know, and with City, you know, you could feel the balls getting warmed up at wherever they'd done the draw. But, you know, I'd like to have been at home. You know, we've been to Leicester this year. We should have won the game. We let it slip at the end. We had enough chances to win 2 games at Leicester that day. You know, I look at the Leicester team the other day, and it wasn't as strong as what it could have been. But you're 90 minutes away from a semi-final at the National Stadium, so I think both teams will go strong. We've gone strong. We've got to go strong, Adam. It's our realistically only chance of silverware, if I'm being honest with you. So we've got to go as strong as we can at Leicester and hopefully get to a semi-final and win one.
You said only realistic. So, as that Everton game, you think the title race is over?
I wouldn't say so much Everton game. I look at that mob down the road, mate. You can't see him getting beaten. It hurts me saying it, Adam. You know, what have they won now? 15 on the bounce, and that's without a recognised centre forward. You know, imagine if Aguero was playing and the other kid, the Belgian kid, I won't mention his name because he's too good. You know, and fair play to him. Yeah, that's the one. fair play to him, you know. We've had the chance to put pressure on him, keep the pressure on him, but you can't really see him getting beat. They will get beat in the game, but you can't see him. So now it's imperative that we do not drop one more single point to be in this race. And my hand on heart, I can't see it. I'd love to say it, but I still think we're about maybe 2 or 3 players short to really challenge him. So that's down to the club, that's down to the management, that's down to the board to back Ollie. You know, I said this season, Adam, we were winning our wildest dreams of where we was after lockdown coming back when we was, 12 points behind Leicester and we got to that third. They should have been backed. Now this year, the gap's going to be closer, hopefully. Now next summer, it's impediment whether coronavirus is here and it's affecting the funds, but we've got to back the manager if we want to try and get and overtake City or Liverpool.
No, I agree with you because I think, I'm not giving up on the title because I think there's a long way to go and you never know what happens. And if you look at City's early season form, you know, if they return to that, then you never know. But it's looking difficult when you're looking at 8 points that need to be dropped now. And United need to win more games than City. So it's going to be difficult. But at the same time, I agree, just closing the gap was the aim this season. Close that gap to City, close that gap to Liverpool. We've done that. And then next season would be to push on. But I feel sometimes in life and in football, there's opportunities present themselves. And I think one did present itself this season. And those kind of results against Leicester, against Everton, because those wins as well, when you get them, if we won 2-1 at Leicester or Pogba's shot goes in against Liverpool at Anfield in it, or Bruno's, and I think you leave those grounds with a different kind of feeling. And you feel like, oh, something's happening here. Something's definitely happening. But when you're dropping points like that, I don't think the momentum's going to be really there. The positivity in terms of winning the title is going to be there anymore. So it could be difficult for them, but maybe with the pressure off, or seemingly the pressure off, they might rise to it. That West Brom game on the weekend worrying me, man, because they've done nothing for weeks. I think since they got a result at Anfield, and knowing Big Sam, they'll probably get a result against us.
Yeah, like you're saying, Big Sam's never been relegated in his career, his management career, and West Brom made that decision to get rid of Bilic and bring Allardyce in. It's not worked for him, He's brought a few players in on loan. I watched him the other week against City, and it was over within 10-15 minutes, you know what I mean? And I think City took the foot off the pedal. But just going back on what you said, Adam, about the shot at Paul's at Anfield and his other ones, it's just about small margins, That's the thing. That goes in, we get 3 points. We don't give that free kick away against Everton, that's another 3 points. The referee and the VAR get their arse together. And the decision against Sheffield United was an absolute joke. We win the game. So it's about small margins. And sometimes you've gone for us, like you look at the Brighton penalty, last kick of the game. And then you look at the decisions of VAR against Sheffield United. So it swings and roundabouts, mate. But we've had some big opportunities there this season. And some we've took and some we haven't, mate.
It's true. It's true. Actually, it's actually rude for me to have forgotten almost. This week was the Munich air disaster anniversary, wasn't it? Yeah. Can't believe I forgot to bring that up in our video this week. But I don't want to, obviously, in terms of that team, the Munich team. Sorry to completely change the pace here. I just realised that I forgot. In terms of that Munich team, what are your memories, Web? Or what are the stories, the legends, the fairy tales that you've been told by family and friends? And what is your lasting memory of that side?
Obviously, I wasn't born when it was about, but my mum was around the time, obviously, the crash, and she's told me and uncles what a team it was, We'd be where Real Madrid is now, and Bayern Munich regarding winning champion European Cups. They were that good, you know what I mean? And the players were only younger and get bigger and better, And it's just a sad day. Each year it comes around, I was fortunate to be in the ground on the 60th anniversary. So many people let in the ground, and the gentleman starts singing The Flowers of Manchester, and it starts snowing. To be there, and there was no snow in the air, mate. It was a cold day. And just as he starts, you can see the video online as the snow starts to fall. Very heart-wrenching, and Tony's been over to Munich a few times with a memorial, and it's just a sad day for the club, and it's something what we'll always remember in this time of the year. And I watched A Minute's Silence. The MUTV did a good programme on the actual time last week, and it's sad, but you got to remember the great things about him, how they played the beautiful game, you know, how they destroyed teams, bits of kids, you know, local kids, Coleman, Salford and Big Duncan Edwards, Birmingham, you know, had great futures, and it was all taken away. And it's something what a lot of the older people, you know, must think about, thinking how many European Cups we could have won and how many leagues we could have won, and we could have dominated football for a long time when he's played, because a lot of them were like early 20s, you know. It's a sad time, and just a bit upset that we couldn't go and pay our respects normally at the ground because of what's going on in the world. But I had a minute's silence at home, you know, thought about everyone who passed away, not just the players, the press and everyone who was involved. And I'll do it every year, mate, till the day I die. But it's a very sad day in the club's history.
Yeah, I was at that memorial. It was the one under Jose Mourinho, wasn't it? Jose was boss. Yeah. I remember that. It was a real poignant day at Old Trafford, and I've been down to the Manchester Plaza as well in Munich, which, for those that don't know, is the scene of where the crash happened. And it's a real eerie place. Like, we were on a Euro away, so as you know how Euro aways are, you're a little bit drunk, you're having a little bit of fun, everyone's having a laugh at a joke, and you're walking up to this place, and you're just hit by the enormity of it. And because obviously, as a kid growing up in the 90s, you hear about the Munich air disaster, but it's almost like a myth or a legend. Yeah. Like, you can't really fathom the size of what happened. Like, obviously, you've had Chapecoense more recently in Brazil, where a similar occurrence happened. But like, imagine, like, I can't get my head around, like, players just. It's incredible stuff for the club to rebuild from that. Yeah, I think it kind of set the tone for the club forever. Then, like, you always get these weird, like, comebacks and fighting back, and it's almost like that spirit was set from there, and it's lived with the club since. It's mad. But yeah, obviously, rest in peace to all those guys that lost their lives, not just the footballers, the media, and everybody else that passed away, and thoughts with their families as well at this time. But yeah, it was a shame we could have honoured them with a win against Everton. But there's always that. Do you remember the 50th Munich memorial in 2008?
I can.
The one where we wore the shirts, played City.
Yeah, we played City. Yeah, we played City. It was and
we lost, and it was like the size of the day just got the players, didn't it? It just.
I've still got the scarf. I've still got the scarf at home, which was put on every seat that day, and I've never took it out of the bag, and it stayed there with a letter from the club. So yeah, it was just one. It was just like, it always comes to your mind that obviously the shirt he wore more than anything, you know, without, you know, and it was a bad day at the office, you know, we got beat, but you know, it was. I'll always remember obviously the scarves being held by both sets of fans, and the minute silence was, you couldn't hear the pin drop, you know, and it's respect to City fans for that day. You could have spoiled it, but they knew, obviously they lost one of their own in Frank Swift. So, yeah, it was a poignant day, and it will be every time it comes around, whether we're playing or not. Adam, you know, any United fan who's got any word for them at that time on the 6th of February, I'll stop what they're doing and just remember those people who passed away, mate. Well said.
What's mad as well is, like, a lot of them would have went on to be football managers, and you know, like, you don't know how would one of them have managed a United, like, the things that would have happened after is mad. But yeah, let's not set ourselves thinking about the what ifs. You alluded to obviously what we need to do in the summer earlier, backing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So I assume. And this might sound like a mad question to me and you, but online it's not. You're fully behind Ole Gunnar Solskjaer now, right? Like, this guy deserves a year or so more backing. Like, he's proven to you that he can take us forward.
Oh yeah, definitely. You know, you got to back them. Whoever's in charge, Adam, if you're a proper United fan, you back him till the day the club makes a statement and says, we're no longer da-da-da-da-da. You're back, Ollie. But he needed to be backed in the summer, Adam, and he wasn't backed, you know. And he's got, like you're saying, wherever we finish this season, you know, it will be a lot closer to the top two. You've got to back him, you know, there is money there. I know Corona has affected a lot of the spending. You look at that last transfer window, was it 83 million was spent by the Premiership when it's normally 400 million round about the January one. But he's a man. Whoever's in charge for me, I'll back him till the day the club say otherwise, you know. Ollie's a man. We back him. We get behind him. And I say to people now, enjoy the ride, mate. There's going to be some bumpy days. There's going to be some great days, you know. I've been very spoilt, mate. I've seen doubles, trebles a lot. But back Ollie, enjoy the ride, and let's see where it takes us. But 100% behind the man.
Yeah, I think I share that sentiment. And obviously, I'm someone that had I had my doubts about giving him the job permanently at the time. I've had my doubts whether he's the man to actually bring us home a title or bring us home the big trophies that Manchester United fans want to see us win. But, excuse me, you can't deny that he has improved this team. He's got us to where we hoped we could be this season. Of course, we would want it to be better, and we can all think of results that we should have done better in, or he could have made a better decision in, or this, that, and the other. But generally speaking, we are in a much better place because of him and with him. And it feels like that progression is continuing, and to a point where if in the summer we back the manager properly, like you said, then we should be able to, if not win the league, go very close to doing it, or expect to do it. So, yeah, I got to agree with that.
You've mentioned the club need to back him. What positions do you think we need to strengthen in order to be able to say we'll be winning the title this season?
Well, you look at the top clubs, you know, around the Premiership and around Europe and around the world. 2 quality players for every position now. I think we need a cover for right back. The word on the street is that Kieran Trippier is a mark to come across to United. You know, obviously it might have happened in the January transfer window, but with a ban what he had through the alleged betting thing, had scuppered that. I think we need a centre half, mate. Someone with pace, you know, and obviously the thing that worries me is about Cavani. You know, is this deal going to be signed? You know, are we looking at other targets? You know, as he keeps scoring, his value's going up now. He's only got a deal on it till the end of the season. You know, he's been absolutely superb in my eyes, but is it what we need? We do at the moment because the other lads aren't firing on all cylinders. So for me, centre half, right back, possibly a right-sided player. You know, I like Mason out there, but even though he should be down the middle. And that's it, pal. We can't go too far because there's not a lot of money about, but that's what I'd like to strengthen if possible, mate.
I think the centre-half thing, it's so gutting about Eric Bailly because when you see him play, he's quite clearly, like, Liverpool fans are moaning about Van Dijk. Like, he's massively important to us. When you see him play, the difference between our defence. And if you look at the games where we've conceded goals, especially at home, Everton, Leeds, those kind of games, Bailly didn't play. The ones where it was tight, 1-0 against Wolves, 2-1 against Aston Villa. Eric Bailly was playing in those games. And I think if you look at Aston Villa, the block he makes at the end, you know, his performance against Wolves, I thought he was excellent. And Harry Maguire seems twice the defender when he's alongside him as well.
It's just been unfortunate with silly injuries. I mean, well, not silly injuries, but injuries that have kept him out for a few months and then a few weeks when he's looked solid. But if you're looking at it, the man, even when he's fit, the manager seems to like Lindelof. Now, I've got no qualms about Victor, but if you want, we're getting done on pace, we're getting done down the sides. That's what Everton did. Played the ball in between the full-backs and the centre-half, and it caused a hell of a lot of problems. You know, and it's got that pace, and with Eric's pace, and then we can move that 10 yards more forward because we've got his pace to help us out, and we can press more. But he seems to want Victor and Harold as his 2 centre-halves, you know, and for me,
Harold.
But if Eric's fit, then he's got to play. But he seems to go for Victor. But who am I? You know, he's a manager of Manchester United, so it's his choice. But buy all day for me. But he has to stay fit, and that's a big question, mate.
Yeah, that's been the the downside for Bailly is he can't stay fit, and you can't trust him to stay fit. So it's almost like you just have to get rid. If he was we've had Phil Jones and Marcus Rojo and all these players. They're still here. We've had all these players who have just wasted time and wasted money at the club. And it's like, if we're going to have someone do that, let that be Eric Bailly and get some proper defenders in. And then if Bailly plays 15 games next season, great stuff. But if not, at least we've got the defenders there to be able to cover him, because without it at the moment, it's really weak. You mentioned Cavani there. I do think he'll stay next season.
Yeah.
And it's probably a blessing in disguise for someone. Anthony Martial, Player of the Year last year, top goal scorer without taking penalties. And this year he's been off the pace. Have you been able to explain that one? Like, what do you think it is, Webb?
I don't know, because you can't put it down to like he's only just come. He's played his 250th game the other day for the club, A lot of players don't play 5 games for this great club. He's played 250. And it's frustrating because we know what he can do. We've seen that from the first day he come on against Liverpool. We know what he can do. And for me, Anthony's one of them. If he's not going right from the start, then I think it affects his game for the full game. If he misses that early chance, or he miscontrols, or he don't get put through, I think that affects him on his mind. He should just forget about it, like great centre forwards like Shearer, who'd probably miss an open net in 2 minutes and he'll score you 2 and 3. Just get on with the game. But for me, I like him coming in off the left, instead of straight down the middle. I think he's more adapted, he's more of a benefit for the team when he's on the left, but obviously he's been played down the middle, and for some reason it's not worked out for him so far. But with centre forwards, confidence breeds on goals. If he scores 2 on Sunday, then he can go on a run where he can get another 10, maybe more, before the team finishes. But he needs those goals. He needs to put in a shift, and I've got no qualms about him, but he needs to start working for the team and start scoring, and then I think he'll be fine. But it's a big if, but he's got the ability, as you said, so let's get him to do it, mate.
He definitely has the ability. It's been a weird one. I thought after last season, surely this guy's, Martial's going to kick on now. And then I don't know, for whatever reason it is, I think there's a mixture of them. Obviously, at the start of the season, I thought his performances were there, but the sharpness in his finishing wasn't. Yeah. And then as the season's progressed, his finishing's just got worse and worse and worse. It's been playing in his mind, and his performances have got worse. I have seen, the goal he took against Southampton. Yeah. The first one, I thought it was an incredible goal. And if you're not confident, you don't score those kind of goals. But I do think the way we're playing at the moment has changed a lot. And you've got to be a little bit more like Cavani in the box, where you're going to look for chances that maybe aren't there. Yeah. Instead of waiting for the perfect pass all the time. I do think it'll come good for him. I do. He's got the benefit of, look, Cavani's going to be here next season. You've got now to prove yourself by the end of next season as the main man. Otherwise, I can see someone coming in. I think we'll focus on that right-hand side in the summer. You get a Sancho, or all right, Amad Diallo comes into the main man as a right winger. Then Greenwood can push across into the middle. And you've got a bit more competition in there as well. So I do think he's got, probably next season will be his last season as our first choice number 9, if you want to put that in kind of quotations. Big season for him. Big game coming up this weekend, as we said. We've got the West Bromwich Albion one. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Spurs City, though. Pep versus Jose. Now, we need a result in this game. Let's talk a little bit about Jose Mourinho. Obviously, our former boss. He seems to be making the same mistakes at Spurs.
Yeah, you look at the other night, it was a great match the other night, the cup tie, but, it's a strange one with Jose. He started to moan again, and a little bits what he started to do with us in the pre-season as he left, little bit threw in about Bale. He couldn't understand why he's gone for it. I thought it was a strange one getting Bale back, I managed to see a bit of him, and he'd lost a few yards of pace, and I was surprised that Tottenham went for him, but it was a move. It may come good still, but you look at Jose, and he's 1 minute he's flavour of the month, and the next thing he's making noises that he don't want to be. Well, I won't say he don't want to be there, but making excuses, Adam. So I don't know with him. I just think that his time as a top class manager has been now. And Mourinho 10 years ago was the best thing since sliced bread. if you had him as your manager, he was winning things. But now he's looking for excuses every time something goes wrong, and it's the Jose we had, you know. But looking at that match, pal, we could do with a bus being parked to 2 up in Beswick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A couple of big red London buses would do. But no, it should be a good game. But if Spurs come out and are open, then they'll get absolutely destroyed. So I can see a bus or 2 being parked.
Yeah, most def. I'm all for that bus. Harry Kane penalty after like 10 minutes, and then Spurs park the bus and get a 1-0 win. I will be well and truly back on the Jose bus if that happens. Yeah. United at West Bromwich Albion. Now we spoke about it a little bit earlier, but these are the kind of games that in the past have caused us issues, haven't they? But we seem to be a little bit better on the road this season. Why do you think we're better on the road, or do you just think it don't matter anymore without fans? I
just think you look at when that Bundesliga started way back last year, and how many away victories were happening to home victories, and I bet the away victories are right up there again this year. I can't put my hat on it, Adam. You know, it's a level playing field, isn't it? You know yourself. We play Sheffield United at home. They go 2-1 up. The crowd gets behind, and we get a 2-2, or we beat them 3-2. You know, but without the crowd, and it probably has helped. It probably has helped a few teams and players. You know, some players are probably scared to do stuff with the crowd in there for the reactions what they'd get. Some people are trying it now and thinking, well, if it doesn't work, no one's going to have a go at me. You know, so I expect us to go down there, put in a performance with a strong team and get the 3 points and keep us hanging on the coattails of that mob from Beswick, you know. But, you know, with Big Sam, you know what he's going to do. He likes nothing more to upset the apple cart, which he did at Anfield the other week, you know, and he's done it in the past. So we've got to be on our ball. We've got to be ready for it. And if we do, we'll bring back the 3 points.
Edison Cavani. We've all heard the tune. We've all seen him play for us. Well, we haven't got to see him play inside the stadium, but in terms of on the television. Is he... Chris is with you at the moment. Ask him about remove the curse, yeah? We once thought Michael Owen had put a curse on the number 7 shirt. Is Edinson Cavani the end to that? And where would you rank him among some of the signings that we've made over the years? Like we had the short-term ones like Henrik Larsson and all that, but we've seen some great strikers, and Cavani's another one of them.
Yeah, just a bit, you know, obviously Larsson towards the end of his career. Ibrahimovic, we fought towards the end of his career, but he's still fighting and scoring goals at 40 years of age, so fair play to him, you know. I'd love to see Cavani 6 or 7 years ago at Old Trafford. How good would that have been, you know? Or maybe a lot earlier with Giggs on one side and Beckham on the other with Cavani not thinking about it, you know what I mean? How good would that have been? You know, Cavani and Rude together. You know, that would have been unreal. But he looks fit. If he stays fit, you know, he'll do a good job for us. But I'd say up there, I'd say maybe on the lines of the Larsson thing, not as Ibra, because Ibra come and he set everything going, didn't he? You know, and he was unfortunate he got that injury, which slowed him down in the Premiership, and he's gone by everyone's imagination that he's a top scorer, is he, in Serie A, and he wants to fight with ex-teammates, and he's 40 years of age. He should be on a pipe now in America somewhere, just sat there on a beach somewhere, just thinking about all the trophies he's won. But I just hope the fact that we managed to get inside the stadium when all this is over, to see the likes of Cavani, you know, the bloke, it's a joy to watch on the TV, seeing him live, his movement and all that would be extra special. So fingers crossed that at some point next season we're back in the stadiums and we can witness this man in the flesh and live.
I know even Bruno, I think we got to see him like a handful of times at Old Trafford.
Yeah.
People have compared him to Eric Cantona. And then he went and scored that goal the other day. Unfortunately, he won't be remembered as long due to the fact we drew the game in disappointing fashion. But what a signing Bruno has been, and what a goal, eh?
Don't get me wrong, he said he's been a breath of fresh air, you know, since last January when he come in, and he brightened the supporters up, the fans, the kit woman, the tea lady, the players. He gives that lift what we needed. But regarding when people try to put him next to the king, never. You know, Eric was a man who was a presence, and that's no disrespect to Bruno, you know. He's done some great stuff for the club and himself, you know, and he's took us up to that next level. But the mark Eric made, you know what I mean? It transformed the club. into also runs to league champions. You know, that was a man. Being in a room with him like you have, it's his presence. You're like you with royalty. You're like there's someone special in the room. He's aura about the man. You know, I'll always remember there's a story of when I was fortunate to work on the door where the players used to have their Saturday night tipple, and we'd been beat 2-0 at home by Chelsea. And this girl was bathing Eric all night and tried to get near. There was like a private balcony for the players and the VIPs. Anyway, she managed to blag in. I don't know how she got in. And I was stood there talking to Eric, and she went, you got beat 2-0 by Chelsea today, And he just turned around with his collars up and he went, but what have they won? I know that's what the man was like, but what have they won? I know we went on to do the double that year, and Chelsea probably didn't do anything, but just the order of the man being in that, and he just turned around, collars up, glass of champagne in one hand, a bird in the other, but what have they won? And it was a moment I'll never forget.
What a man. I love those little stories that you have. Eric he's the guy that made me fall in love with football. Like, he's my first, like, I can remember the day he retired like it was yesterday. I remember on the news, Sir Trevor McDonald going, is Eric Cantona retired? And I said to my dad, what does retired mean? Because I was like 6, 7 at the time. And I was like, what does retired mean? And as soon as he told me, I lost my head. Like, my head went. Because he was almost like a superhero, like just some mad figure.
I always remember I was working at United at the time. We just beat West Ham 2-0 the day before. Obviously, we was already champions. And to get told the next day to be ready to do a press conference. And I got told like a few hours before it had come out. And even though I worked there, I was a big United fan. And I seen if Eric Cantona is retiring from football. And it was how can I put it? It's like a member of your family had died. That's how it felt to me. You know, the shock inside my body, thinking, well, he's 29. You know, his best years are still to come. But I think what upset Eric was the disappointment of the team in Europe. You know, he wanted to conquer Europe. You look at that Dortmund game where we should have scored 10. You know, I think that'll be something. And obviously, what to go into films and all that. But just a press conference, it was like somebody had died, mate. You know, and don't get me wrong, Eric transformed the club. We've had some great times throughout the 90s with Eric, and we thank him for that. But don't try and compare Bruno to Eric yet. Eric just transformed this club from being also rans to being top dogs. But fair play to Bruno, he stepped up to the mark, and we're benefiting the fruits of his goals and his performances.
Yeah, Eric Cantona. And it's mad when you think of that, because at the age he retired, he should really have still been in the squad when we won the treble. Which is mad. But then you probably don't get Solskjaer and or Sheringham. So there you go. That's what happens, I guess. But yeah, Eric Cantona, what a man. What a man. Guys, make sure you're subscribing to Webby and O'Neill. The link is in the description below. The interview with Tony and Gary Neville is out now as well. What else you got coming up, Webb?
Obviously, we'll do something for the Sociedad game, which is now being played in Turin. You know, we were speaking off air before. It's getting a bit of a joke this now. See Arsenal's own games in Athens, and you know, I know you've got to be safe and all that, but I understand UEFA's point of view. But I don't know, mate. Let's cancel it all till it's safe. Yeah, we've got some interviews coming up in a few weeks, so get on and look at the old interviews. Some great interviews on there with Gary Paul, Ryan, Phil Neville, you know, Tim Burgess and people like that about the love for United. And then obviously Tony's chat with Gary today is very interesting on the channel. So have a look at it, you'll enjoy it. Two Long Life Reds who have been there, done it, wore the t-shirt, been in the battle, you know, great times, and we're just putting a bit into it now, which we think a lot of people deserve within it for the long run. So we enjoy the ride like enjoy Ollie as a manager.
Most definitely. Make sure you subscribe. One of my favourite YouTube channels at the moment. Always keep it real as well. Webby, you are on socials as well. United_Webby, aren't you?
Yes, I am. Yeah, I'm on that on Twitter. That's a bit of a laugh, but it's all United based. You know what I mean? Nothing too ever. Enjoy the ride and say again, boss.
Andy's old thing. I tweeted him for that.
Yeah, I tweeted him for that. Yeah, enjoy the ride and. hopefully we can have a chat in a couple of weeks and see where we are in the league, pal, and in the cup. It's always a pleasure, Adam.
We'll speak again when we're top of the league in 2-3 weeks' time. Thank you for tuning in, guys. Make sure you're keeping it like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thank you to Webby. Subscribe to his channel as well and follow him on socials. And we will see you in